If General Petraeus or the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Mullins, say to you, hey, President Obama, if that comes to pass, you cannot take out the final complement of combat troops. We need them in theater. You would say,
I will always listen to the commanders on the ground, and I will make an assessment based on the facts at that time.
So the question is, what precisely did Obama commit to with that answer? What do you think?
I've seen people who are calling this like a sort of McCain-Obama answer, which is what he's committed to. He has said that he wants to withdraw the troops within 16 months, but we know that General Petraeus and others feel that you cannot stick to a rigid timeline. So that's why he has to continue to say to the American public, he's still going to listen to what the people on the ground are saying.
Keeping his options open, which is what a president should do.
And McCain has to absolutely do the same thing.
But Obama is splitting the baby here. He's saying, well, I'm committed to 16-month withdrawal timeline, but I'll also listen to the generals. But when he was sitting with Petraeus on this trip, Petraeus said, look, we can't commit to that because we don't know what the future security conditions on the ground are going to be.
We don't know
both ways.
What about, didn't we used to think that a brigade a month was about it? And don't we have about 140,000 troops over there?
But look,
but
it may in fact be those conditions, if the security conditions continue to improve, it may be that he will be allowed and it will be appropriate to do that in that order, but it may not also be.
Do you think, aside from the fact that he's pre-committed to the 16 months, as she said, let's say that you were doing this from Abovo, from the very beginning, and you wanted to effect a careful withdrawal, but a systematic one. What would it be in terms of manpower removed from combat duty from Iraq?
Well, the estimate is that you could take one or two brigades out every month, and that's why they think 16 to 20 months is a period.
1,500 in a brigade?
Yes. 3,500 in a brigade.
3,500 in a brigade?
Yes.
So that's about 7,000 maximum a month?
5,000 in a brigade, actually.
You could take out 7,000 a month, excuse me, and in 15 or 16 months, you'd have basically all of the combat troops out. But bear in mind, when he said he would refine his views, and the word refine was his word, it created a political firestorm, and the next thing you know, he spoke again and basically reinterpreted and reinforced the 16 months commitment. So in a sense, all he said was that he would listen to the commanders. He didn't say he would obey the commanders. Right. So I think that part of it is still the sort of the fuzzy part, the wiggle room, but that puts him in a very, very awkward position.
But then
politically, he's going to be, let me just finish. Politically, it's going to make it very, very difficult for him. And it's true, John McCain is really left out in left field, so to speak here. Here is a man who said when we went into Iraq originally, we didn't have enough troops. He was the one who was almost uniquely in support of the surge, and he's getting no credit for this at this point. And Obama's getting credit for his.
Obama makes a fundamental distinction. This is for you. He says the strategy of going into Iraq was wrong. We should not have gone in. The strategy. The tactics being used, however, are working in the sense that they are lowering the level of violence in Iraq. Yes. He admits that.
Right.
So there is no real inconsistency if you accept his basic distinction between strategy and tactics. It was wrong to go in, but having gone in and made a mistake, we are minimizing the human damage from that mistake.
But he is still saying that the surge has not brought about the political accommodation, and that developments on the ground also played into the fact that violence is down. And he is also saying that the more critical problem, he calls it urgent and precarious, is Afghanistan. And if you want more troops in Afghanistan, there is only one place to get them from, and it's Iraq. And you have Prime Minister Maliki vindicating the view that the troops could come out over a period of 16 to 20 months. So this, it seems to me that Barack Obama emerges here as a credible voice on foreign policy.
He only wants to shift 10,000 troops to Afghanistan, and that is not going to be an overwhelming problem. Yes, they have to come from Iraq. Nobody thinks we're not going to be able to take 10,000 troops out.
No,
in fairness, and he opposed the surge. In addition to that,
Iraq, you'd have to have people going back for 5 and 6 redeployments.
Well, the army cannot handle
I
think the political problem for Barack Obama, at least over the weekend, will be that people have asked him in interviews while he has been in the Middle East and in Europe this week, if you had to do the surge all over again, would you? And his answer has continued to be no. That is a problem. I think we will continue to see him, because it is a political problem, to continue to switch the conversation to Afghanistan, because the world community is now saying that is the war we must win.
Al-Qaeda says, to use his phrase, Al-Qaeda says the central front in the war with us is in Iraq. That's what Al-Qaeda says.
Look, he has to address Afghanistan because he has to address Afghanistan because he can't frontally address Iraq, because he has been wrong on the surge. He's been wrong. Nobody will ask him a forward-looking question, which is, Senator Obama, if we stick to your timetable and remove all of these combat troops after 16 months, and there is a catastrophe, and Iran pours back in, and Al-Qaeda pours back in, what, sir, are you prepared to do? Are you prepared to reintroduce troops? No. So he's got to address Afghanistan.
If you know so much about
that is his backdoor way. Excuse me. That is his backdoor way of trying to cover up the fact that he has been wrong on Iraq.
If you're so knowledgeable about this, do you know what Big Brzezinski said about putting troops into Afghanistan?
Yes. He said,
do you know what he said?
No.
Right.
He said, don't put troops into Afghanistan, or we will end up the way the Russians did when they were in there for 10 years and they had to withdraw.
We have a standing force in Afghanistan. The problem is that the Al-Qaeda and Taliban threat is not in Afghanistan, it's in Pakistan. And until we're able to address that problem...
All right, I want to get out on this.
I want to say one thing. The voters have a choice between two candidates. One candidate wants to end the war in Iraq. The other candidate wants to win the war in Iraq, which is an undefinable objective.
Okay, McCain on Barack.
Senator Obama said that the strategy of the surge would not succeed. He said it was doomed to failure. He said that there would be an increase in sectarian violence. He still, to this day, has said that the surge has not succeed.
Question. McCain met with the Dalai Lama in Aspen on Friday. How was that for counter-programming? I ask you more.
Well, I suppose if you want to go from, both of them are dealing in counter-programming. I think McCain is trying to show he's not totally closed to a man of total peace. So
do you think
all to the good.
Do you think this is really, almost McCain is not running in the sense that this election is a total referendum on Barack Obama. Well, if it's a referendum on Barack Obama, McCain has a chance, correct?
Yes.
If it's a focus on McCain against Obama, Obama will not lose the election.
I don't think it's going to be on either issue. I think the election is going to be on the economy. I've said that before here. That's going to be, it is a dominant issue in the polls. And
well, that's going to help McCain.
Well, it'll help McCain.
Polls already show that.
Yes. Actually,
the economy.
It shows right now. No. Right now, Obama is 19 points ahead of McCain in terms of how he will address the issues of the economy. The Republicans are going to be blamed for the economy. They're the party in power, and frankly, they deserve a good deal of the blame for the economy, and therefore McCain is not going to be helped by the economy unless he finds somebody who is credible on that issue as his vice president.
If the poll focuses on the element of risk and one's attitude towards the two candidates, the less risky candidate by far is McCain.
That's correct.
And on the basis of that, the economy flows in, and the economy therefore helps McCain. Because people don't...
Barack Obama actually said that in his interview with Brian Williams. Right. He understood that he is the riskier candidate, and it's really a case, as he put it,
because he's unknown
you know
relative
and
to
the devil
McCain.
You don't. But the driving force for change in the country, I mean, people do want to take a risk. They do want it. They don't want sort of a pale imitation of what we've been through.
Give me a quick one-word answer.
The images of Barack Obama on this trip and John McCain in a golf cart with the former President Bush and strolling the cheese aisle in a local
you don't need a burlesque, John McCain. I mean, it's all there for you anyway. A quick one-word answer, only one word. This was a tightrope walk for Obama, a real tightrope. He could have crashed and burned. Did he survive the tightrope, which means, in effect, was he flawless? You can't make mistakes on a tightrope.
It was a great success for him. He was flawless.
Flawless?
Flawless.
Flawless success, yes.
Flawless.
The answer is flawless. We'll be right back.